Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make a card featuring cars and the Corvette in particular. And so the stamp is from a set called Classic Cars, and I'm using a little word stamp here from a set called Classic Pickups. And it says, "You're a classic." And then I'm going to use another stamp from Delusions, the flags or flames, however you want to use it. I've used it before, but I thought it really went well with this card. So I'm using it again, but I'm just making it black on red cardstock. And so I'm going to stamp it up with VersaFine black onyx ink. I'm getting out my acrylic block here and putting the stamp corner to corner so that it'll fit, but looking at that, seeing how it fits across the top, it wasn't necessary because I don't need the whole stamp. But that's okay. It just we'll just use it that way. I'll stamp it up, ink it up, and to be honest, I had a little bit of trouble with this getting it to ink the first place. So I just I kept working at it, and I'm going back and really trying to get the ink in the center portion and mashing it down. And what I decided to do was, once I got it on there and mashed it really hard, especially in the center, and put a lot of pressure on it, I decided just to slide it off to the side and let it sit there for a minute to be sure the ink transfers. And whether that was really the issue or not, I don't know, but it worked. And meantime, while it's sitting there off to the side, I thought I'll go ahead and work on something else. So I pulled the black paper over so I'll have a nice contrast on the back while I'm working on white paper. And one of the stamps is the actual Corvette. I'm wiping it off because there was a little piece of something on there and I was trying to get it off. And as you probably know, if you stamp with something on the surface of the stamp, you'll either come up with a bump on your card or your paper, and you have to pick it off, or it will flake off and leave a blank space on your paper. So I thought it's just best to go ahead and get it off of there now. And I'm inking that up an awful lot, putting a lot of pressure on it, just in case I had the same issue with the other one. So I probably overdid it. It really wasn't necessary, I don't imagine, but I don't know. But anyway, I just went ahead and did it as a precaution, and it just stamped beautifully. So regardless, it was not a problem. Now on this little thing, this little piece is 2 inches by 1 3/4, and I'm stamping the "You're a Classic" at the top, and disproportionate. It looks as if it is, but actually I'm going to come back in a minute and cut that into like a little ribbon, the ends of a ribbon. Now here comes the reveal. Let's see if this works. I peeled it off, and sure enough, got a great impression. I was really pleased with that. So whether that was, what it needed or not, it worked, just to let it sit there for a minute. And whether it had anything to do with the red paper, I just don't know. But anyway, so try what you need to try, rather than just completely give up, and maybe there is another way. So I'm just bringing in the cardstock to show the variety of colors we're using here. Kraft paper, black and white, red and white, a black square, and then I'm showing you the measurements in case you do want to follow it exactly. Now this is an A6 card, which is 4.5 by 6 1/4. You might not want to make a card that large, but just size the other pieces to go with the card that you make. And that square there is a 3 1/4 inch square. Then the little piece there, I'm going to cut again, as I've already said, into a little ribbon. So it's kind of like you won the prize, you're the grand prize winner, you're a blue ribbon winner. That's kind of the idea, the concept I'm trying to get across here. And so I'm just marking the middle of that, 2 inches. I'm marking 1 inch, and it's not completely necessary, but for just a tiny bit of effort, it does give a nice look. So you cut from corner to corner up to that dot, and then it makes those little ribbon tails there, and set it aside, and it is ready to go. In just a moment, I'll go back with my makeup sponge and my neutral ink and go around the edges the way I do so often. But right now, I'm going to take this craft sheet, and I'm going to take a Versamark pen, which is just like the Versamark ink pad, that it's a sticky ink. It's clear. But I'm going to take the pen with the ruler, and I'm going to go around the edges of this square and just draw a line off to the edge, and this will be my frame, so to speak, on this piece. I decided to go ahead and make a couple of lines on each side. So I just mark down again, and again it's clear. I'm not adding a color. It's just clear, and as you can see, it just darkens things up. You can stamp with a Versamark ink pad also on things, and do that, and it just darkens the paper. If you were putting polka dots or whatever you're doing, it would just leave dots, and they do show up, but they're the same color. So it's interesting. It's a really neat tool. So when I got to the last side, there was a little ragged spot down at the bottom, and for some reason it started flaking off. So I just went ahead back over to the trimmer later and trimmed that off, and then redrew that line down there, just to sharpen that edge. But then I do get out my Millennium pens. This wasn't really necessary, and but I just wanted to finish that off. That stamp didn't necessarily go all the way to the top. I didn't take it up far enough, so I thought for just a tiny bit of effort, I will just go ahead and finish that off and carry it all the way up to the top of the paper, to the edge. And so then I get out my trusty neutral ink pad, in this case Sahara Sand, and my makeup sponge, and I decided to go around the edges of all the red and white papers, and just to frame them off. The same idea as framing off with the Versamark ink pen, but when you use the makeup sponge, and this one's getting old, and I could easily switch, I have extras, but it starts to flake after a while, and so you'll see all these little flakes on that white paper, and that's why I just use scratch paper, copy paper, to catch all that, so I can just throw it away and it doesn't ruin whatever it falls on. But anyway, then I do go around all those, and the Corvette, and even the little ribbon, and with those pointed edges, you just get up in there. It's easy, and cover that off, and then I will show you. I'm going to put it down on a sheet of white cardstock and zoom in so that you can see the difference. It definitely makes a difference, and I just like that a lot. So anyway, so here I go with the Tombow liquid glue, going around all the edges. I'll speed this up for your sake, and it goes on white. When it dries, it'll be clear in just a few minutes, and then it becomes repositionable in case I need to pull something up. So here's my card base. I'm putting down the red bottom sheet, lining it up, and then next will come the tan color, and I put it about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. This is Kraft, and then the next piece, I'm going to start the layering of the white and the black in this case, and the black will go down about a 1/2 inch from the Kraft, the bottom of the Kraft sheet, And I don't care that it's offset. I kind of like things offset a little bit. And so I'm putting that on there. And then the next piece is this square piece. And if you're not sure about the placement, you certainly could lay this out before you put glue on it, and then go around and draw a pencil mark around the corners so that you would know where you wanted to place these. In this case, I do end up kind of making some adjustments and some tweaks there, put it the way you want it. And then here goes my little ribbon that says you're a classic. Just kind of slide it up under there. Originally, I thought this would be a masculine card, but the more I thought about it, women like Corvettes too. And a woman friend of mine just recently bought one, so but sometimes we just kind of have a harder time coming up with a masculine card, so I thought this might be a good idea. So I hope you enjoyed. I know I just love the look of the colors and the car. And so here's a set of them on black paper. I have some positioned on white paper and individual. So I hope you enjoyed. Come back soon. I should be back in a few days, and we'll come up with a different idea. So until then, so glad you came, and have a good day. Bye-bye.